Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. So what if after all my pleading, all my warning, all of my spreadsheets and showing you the math, you still say, but Craig, I must speculate on modern cards. What should I speculate on? Well, first I would remind you not to do it, and I'd send you my playlist of videos about why you should not speculate on modern cards. But then I would say you really need to figure out what the best quality stuff is, what is going to have consistent long-term demand, and what WotC will attempt to corner the reprint equity on. And so, what is my suggestion? A single card. It's Scalding Tarn. The enemy fetch land. It's the red-blue one, and it was reprinted here in Modern Horizons 2 last year. That's still in print as of now, and probably for quite a while to come. And why do I choose this one? Well, fetch lands are absolutely amazing cards. They have a very long history of high demand. WotC goes long periods without reprints on them because it creates reprint equity, which they can then use in things like expensive master sets like Modern Horizons 2. And they're, besides just being great cards, players want them. They're very powerful cards. If you're making a modern deck or a deck in any other format where they're legal, there are going to be a lot of fetch cards that people need for those decks. They're too good. So why would I choose Modern Horizons versions? Because I think the original enemy fetch land came out in 2009 in Zendikar. Why would I choose Modern Horizons 2? The reason is as a card gets older, there's more and more of a premium that people pay for the condition of the card because there are fewer and fewer cards of that condition. And you don't want to be paying any of that condition premium here. I mean, you're trying to invest on a modern card, get the most recent one, and especially with fetch lands, because the majority of these are purchased to play with. They're not purchased for collectability. And so you're not going to have people who are interested in filling a page in their binder with Zendikar expansion fetch lands. So go for essentially the cheapest copy you can find. And what is the cheapest copy of a Scalding Tarn? It is the normal border Modern Horizons 2 non-foil. This is it. It's the absolute cheapest one. And again, we chose Scalding Tarn because red-blue on the long timeline is definitely, or at least probably, the best and most popular two-color combination. So we're going to go all in on this one. And let's look at the prices as of today. So about $27. You could pick up quite a few of them, $27, $28. Probably pick up more than you really want. So, you could clear this out and buy about 30 copies at $27 to $28. And the other thing I'll say is Modern Horizons 2 came out August or September timeframe, something like that, of 2021. So it's been out a good 6+ months. And you can see that these prices, we're looking at the blue line here for just the regular card, not the green line for the foil card. But you can see how these prices have fallen, and they've really leveled out in the last couple months. So we'll look all the way back to mid-October here. The card was $30, and it's only managed to drop to about $26, $27 in the last 3 months. So $3 slip in 3 months. What that tells me is that the market is leveling out for this card. It's really finding its short-term price. And the reason for that is as more and more sets after Modern Horizons 2 come out, more and more money will be diverted by people into other sets, even junk like Crimson Vow. But fewer and fewer boxes of Modern Horizons 2 will be getting opened every day as time goes on. And so that's why you see fewer copies coming into the market. And so the slide in the price becomes less steep and slows down. And I think we're at a good kind of plateaued area here. I mean, I don't expect this to drop to $20. Could it drop to 26? Sure. 25, maybe. 24, possibly. But when you start talking about $20 or $22, probably not. So that what that tells me is that it's not a bad time if you were going to speculate on this to start buying 1 copy a week, 2 copies a week maybe of this card. Start putting them back. And eventually, if it does slip a little more and you're already buying 1 or 2 copies a week, then you'll catch that bottom. You'll buy a bunch of copies around that bottom. And then as it turns back up, you'll be buying copies still. Eventually, the set will be out of print and the price will start going up a little steeper, and you'll still be buying copies. And over time, you'll accumulate a lot of copies at very good prices at or near the low. Like I said, I don't think this is going much lower than this $26, $27, not significantly. But the other advantage of this over speccing on huge piles of junk commons and uncommons is what is the maximum you could lose? And so to talk about the max you could lose, let's look at what the buy list is offering for these cards. Now remember, this is the one we're interested in over here. It's just I didn't know how to search for this to get it narrowed down anymore. But this is the one we're searching for, and we'll assume that every copy we buy is near mint and that they are truly near mint. And then when we buy list them or potentially buy list them to TCG Player accepts all of them as near mint and doesn't adjust any of them to light play. And so what's the depth of the buy list and the prices right now? Look at that, 19 copies at $24. So literally you could buy this card for $27 today, and your maximum downside risk is $3 per copy. That's amazing. You know, when you talk about these specs on 921 copies of Ignite the Future, or how many copies of, was it Alchemist Gamble, something like that? I mean, those have a downside risk of 100%. And in fact, a lot of those specs that I talked about from those MTGRocks.com articles, they actually are 100% loss right now. And some of them are more than 100% loss because the cost to get out of it for shipping and market fees is more than you initially paid. So when you look at the total downside risk here on Scalding Tarn, on this cheap copy of it, your total risk is basically 11% downside right now as you get into this. You know, how can you complain about a bet like that after all these junk bets on speccing on just garbage commons and uncommons? So, you know, this is what I would do. I've actually thought pretty seriously about just buying 1 copy of this every week for a while and just using it as an example of, hey, look, guys, if you want to mess around with modern cards, you can, but, you know, you need to make less speculative bets, look for quality, look for things that you know will have long-term demand. Don't make bets on stuff where your business case for it is, well, I think that if WotC releases this and this type of deck in Commander becomes popular, it might go up a little. You know, that's tenuous and very difficult to actually achieve. But when we're talking about enemy fetch lands, especially Scalding Tarn, we know they're going to go up. We know once Modern Horizons 2 goes out of print, they will just start a march upward, and it will be slow and unstoppable until eventually it gets reprinted again. So if you were to actually do this, if you were to say, Craig, I think you're right, I'm going to start buying 1 copy a week of this, and I'm going to do that for, 2 years. One thing you need to realize is one day this will get reprinted. And when it does get reprinted, the price will crash. Again, that's predictable. It's what WotC does. It's WotC cashing in on the reprint equity. And so you have to say, I'm going to buy list some or all of these maybe 18 months after Modern Horizons 2 goes out of print, maybe 24 months, maybe 30 months. But you need to be cognizant that you have to get out before the reprint. Otherwise, you're going to get clobbered and you're going to be stuck holding the cards for 5 years. And over that 5-year period, you might make as much money as you would have made if you had sold it 24 months. So be aware of that. It's not free tendies, but speccing on junk cards is just, it's akin to buying a scratch off or walking into a casino and spending all night pulling on a slot machine. So, you know, if you've got to get into modern cards and making bets like this, and you're not patient enough or you're just not interested enough in investing in sealed product for the long term, then hey, I think this is about the best you can do. And I think anybody doing this will vastly outperform anybody doing crazy specs over on the MTG Finance subreddit. I don't, long term, all those people are going to lose money. So let me know what you think. If you disagree, if you think this is too controversial, whatever, just put some comments down below and let's talk about it. I'd be interested to see what y'all have to say. If you like this kind of content, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.